Hello, friends. Welcome to the next episode of the third Men Cricket podcast. We are continuing from our previous episode where we were giving you an insight into the eight teams of the Indian Premier League um, after the mini auction that took place. And in our first episode, we went through Royal Challengers Bangalore, Chennai Super Kings, Delhi Capitals, and Kolkata Knight Riders. So, in our second episode, we'll be just finishing up on the remaining four teams. My friend RaviTeja is alongside me, so I will let him take the lead and move on to the next set of teams. Ravi?
Indeed. Thanks, Pawan Bhaiya. So yeah, we pretty much covered the first four teams, I'll say, in the first episode. And of course, now let's go on to the next four teams. Quickly go to Mumbai Indians, the reigning champions. I don't think they can do anything wrong, even probably on the field or off the field. The one structured unit. Uh, I personally don't see anything that has necessarily gone wrong for them this auction. Probably the only thing that might have actually gone wrong with them is with respect to the purchase of the controversial Arjun Tendulkar for his base price. Uh, I don't know why is that being criticized, and of course I'll take your views as well on it. But I personally think there's need not be much fuss on it because he was anyway actually bowling to all of those Mumbai Indians players as part of their trainings or training circuits or all their practice sessions as well, or might as well was probably getting paid more than 20 lakh. You never know. And this time is now officially drafted. Still may not get a game, but you never know. So it would be really interesting. And with their buys, they got in Colton Isle, Milne as well. Personally, don't see them playing, honestly. But having said that, once they finish 10 games, wherein they're actually leading on the top of the table, they may still want to give Bolt some rest, or Pollard some rest perhaps, or Deacock some rest maybe, considering their the number of keepers also available with them, whatnot. So nothing much to talk necessarily about Mumbai Indians. They're so good that they're boring sometimes. Don't you think so? What's your view?
Yeah, they pretty much have a settled side that's been playing for them with almost all the bases covered, and they're the reigning champions. They had kept on winning in the odd years, but they proved everybody wrong and won in the even year also last time, and are leading the IPL charts with five titles. Yeah, there was nothing much to cheers for them in the auction, just that they wanted to shore up their overseas bowling. Like you said, they got back Nathan Coulton Isle, and they had released him when they were paying him 8 or 8.5 crores, and they got him back for 5 crores. So that was a plus for them as far as
That's right.
monetary gain is concerned. And they added Adam Milne as well. I clearly see uh, the input of Shane Bond over there, their fast bowling coach. It remains to be seen how fit Adam Milne is, because he's had a history of injuries and as a result has been not been able to play for New Zealand with the amount of consistency that he would have liked. And of course, they have the likes of Chris Lynn, James Neesham was another pick that they had this year. And Marco Jensen was a interesting pick, who's had a very good season as well. The T20 League. So and more or less they have all the bases covered. As I mentioned, their talent scouting program is one of the best, if not the best, in the IPL. Just have to consider that's somebody like the Pandya brothers or the Jasprit Bumrah were not known by anyone when they were initially picked up by MI, and they groomed
Chahal as
them
well,
in Chahal
back
as
in
well.
2011. Yep.
Yeah, Chahal as well. So they have a keen eye for talent, uh, and with somebody like a John Bright and Rahul Sangvi, heading that program, they were in safe hands, and that made sure that they developed the talent right away, and it is for all to see that those talents are now producing such good quality of cricket for the country as well. And they have such a good side that some players like Anmol Preet Singh and Anukul Roy, who were stars of the Indian under 19 team, have seldom found chances in the main team, um, which leads me to the question, on the discussion that we were having with respect to Arjun Tendulkar. It's going to remain with him for the rest of his life, no matter what he does. He's an illustrious father's son, just like Rohan Gavaskar was, of Gavaskar. And but the good thing over here is that people can call it nepotism or whatever they may like. Unlike in other fields, like in the corporate industry or in the film industry, where you can work out various things at the back end as well and make sure you produce or present a product which can be manipulated and liked by the audience. Here, it is for the entire world to see. So Arjun Tendulkar should only be judged on the performance that is going to give out there on the field in in front of the world. Of course, the only advantage that you might get coming from a illustrious family is getting access to the team and the franchise from an early age onwards. Like you said, he's been
Mhm.
bowling with them in the nets. He's bowled sometimes in the Indian team's nets as well. So that kind of privilege can be enjoyed because you come from a certain background. But then the end of the day, what you're going to do on the field, how many wickets and runs you're going to pick, and what role you're going to play in winning the matches for your side is what is going to decide your fate, and it's going to be in his own hands. And the MI management, including Mahela and everybody, were quick to come out and say that we have picked him on his talent basis, and we would treat him as just any other player would be treated in the MI franchise. And yeah, even I don't see him getting a game unless and until they are absolutely assured of a playoff spot well in advance. They might just give him. And as I mentioned, the other players like Anmol Preet and Anukul, they stand a chance in front of him, as French players, having been with the franchise for 2 or 3 years already and warming their time on the bench. So, um, it remains to be seen how much they invest in somebody like a Saurabh Tiwari as well. In the coming season, they might, give more chances to Ishan Kishan, who had absolutely a fantastic season last year and has made his way into the Indian squad as well. And the only surprise pick was Piyush Chawla in their squad, which I think was more of a backup for Rahul Chahar rather than anything else. But yeah, otherwise, again, they would start this season as well as the pre tournament favorites in my book.
Certainly, yes. And I think I'll kind of spend a couple of minutes on Jansen, because point is, I mean, these are few buys wherein, or if not buys, at least, understanding such players, we can probably, after 15 to 20 years, we can come back to this podcast and say, okay, we spoke really high of this guy before he even made it big. And I'll say Marco Jansen is one such guy. Just 20 years old, amazing talent. Zach is a big fan of his, and he's been quite vocal about it in the last 1 2 years as well. In fact, I was expecting Jansen to get a test cap, probably in Pakistan this time around, but of course, it was a pretty tight uh, bowling unit as well. Uh, Having said that, uh, apparently Decock had a big role to play in this. He pretty much rated him to be game fit mentally and physically, and kind of pushed, if not push, at least, I mean, just kind of, I'll say, gave his very sort of go ahead in ensuring that Janssen is actually picked for his base price of 20 lakhs. He's going to be big, and I'm very excited for Janssen because, especially in a country like South Africa, wherein cricket is, fast depleting, I can say, for various reasons. He happens to be that ray of hope, probably like another Aiden Makram, but I hope he has a far more realistic career, and would be lovely to see. And I just hope he gets a game or two to play, or at least of course, will get access to the world's best batsman, can bowl to batsmen like Rohit Sharma, and others. In fact, I've read somewhere that back in tour of 2018, if I'm not wrong, he's actually Ravi Shastri and Virat Kohli have actually liked his bowling, and they've actually asked Jansen and his twin brother to actually ball in the nets. So his story is quite old when he was just about 16 to 17 years old, and today, as a 20-year-old, he's been already in the news, and he's just going up, and it would be really exciting to see.
Yeah,
So, yep. Next up, I think we can quickly discuss Rajasthan because Rajasthan actually I was expecting a lot many more probably crucial critical buys. What necessarily happened with them is they pretty much spent a lot of money on one single player because they were desperate for him. Mainly invest in probably bowling or batting all rounders, fast bowling all rounders, I can say. Tom Curran was there with them last time around. Stokes is uh, a quality world class bowler, come batsman, of course, and now they've gone with Morris. Uh, what troubles me is the price. Does he deserve it? Yes or no? I'll say yes because Rajasthan definitely need that powerhouse with them. Someone who can, uh, you know, someone are those three-dimensional players. I can say. Uh, I really like the Mustafizur Bhai as well. Uh, Gives them that quality, that dimension as well. Liam Livingstone is one such another good buy. I won't necessarily say Morris's buy purchase was a bad one, but having said that, that number still needs to be looked about. And of course, this is just 1 year, so they're okay to shell it down for 1 year. And if he's been bloody good, they'll have to retain him at a higher price, and I don't see that happening. He's going to go under the hammer next year. Age is a factor too. Let's not forget. So, of course, they have a tougher lot to pick in terms of their foreign options as well. Uh, Stokes and Butler, of course, they have their own test tour again, so their availability is still questionable. Archer as well, so that makes it tougher for them. Hence, the Mustafizur by tie is around Andrew Tie. David Miller is one other player uh, that is still actually, he's someone who's actually getting some game time, in the subcontinent now. So it would be a interesting season ahead for them. Uh, I'm not very excited about Sanju Samson being made captain, to be very honest. I personally think he's an overrated cricketer. I mean, of course, I don't want to pass on controversial comments here, but I think he's been given more importance than he actually deserves. Uh, and I hope he proves me wrong and then slides into Indian cricket team once again. And I think it's a right decision to drop him this time around from the national team. But of course, being the skipper, uh, it would be really, really, uh, I'll be curious to watch what he does. Most probably, most likely, I'm expecting his batting to go down south once again, probably, but would be really interesting. What's your take on RR? What do you think? Have they done well or bad?
yeah, they have historically been one of the franchises who have always spent their money very frugally and wisely. And at the end of every auction, you would see them still left with a lot of money in their kitty. You can understand the reason why they broke the bank for somebody like Chris Morris, who is struggling to find a consistent place in the South African T20 squad itself. But we saw him going out for a high price in the last auction as well when RCP picked him. And it's just his utility with both bat and ball that proves to be the clincher for him. And as I again mentioned that the smaller the pool of players, the more the chances are for lesser players, to go for higher price in an auction. But having said that, they wanted an Indian captain at the helm of affairs and a young one at that, and that's the reason they would have chosen somebody like a Sanju Samson, who at least in their team would be a sure shot starter in the playing 11. So it remains to be seen how he copes up with that. Of course, he's been very infamously famous for his inconsistency. That is something that he might want to, bring out personally in the season and perform consistently. And, that is the only way that he might be able to put his hat in the ring for the World T20 later on this year. And They have a good foreign talent, of course. Their foreign talent is based on the trio, the English trio of Butler, Stokes, and Archer. We got Andrew Ty as well, and the likes of David Miller, who did not get much time in the last season. Hoping that he gets more time this season. He had a very good series with the bat against Pakistan in that T20 series. Liam Livingstone also is a very enterprising option, and so is Mustafizur Rahman, who sort of lost his fizz after that first couple of seasons, but seems to be finding his mojo back. And hopefully, they would be hoping that they get to see the best of him. And just to rounding it up on the Indian players, I think it will be the Indian talent that would decide their fate. Um, the likes of Rahul Tewatia, who's been rewarded with the place in the national team, they would like him to continue in the same vein. And Riyan Parag is one player they would definitely want to develop some kind of consistency because they have invested very heavily in him. Maipal Lomlor, again a very talented player and rated very
Mm.
highly by the likes of Rahul Dravid. He needs to be given consistent chances as well. He was not given those chances in the last couple of seasons. And they made a very good pick in the form of Chetan Sakaria, who's been doing very good in the domestic circuit. Uh, and then the season pro Jaydev Unadkat also needs to step up to the plate and perform as a senior player. And then of course they've got the young pacer and Karthik Tyagi, who was very promising. Showed some glimpses of consistency last season, but he's definitely a work in progress and will perform very well for them. And the likes of USSC Jaiswal also needs to be given a consistent run at the top of the order, along with Sanju Samson. That'll be a good right hand left hand combination as far as I'm concerned. That should hold him in good stead. Uh, and finally,
So,
sorry, I was just going to mention their mystery spinners. They have a couple of mystery spinners, KC Kariappa and Mayank Markande in there as well. So
mhm.
it'll be interesting to see how they utilize them as well. And just rounding it off on there, I personally did not think the kind of price tag that they attached to somebody like a Shivam Dubey was justified. Again, he's a work in progress. Has potential to do good with both bat and ball, but it remains to be seen how he performs in the upcoming season for them because he was very underwhelming in his time with RCB.
Fair point. Point is, they have a lot of people who can actually ball. A lot of, you know, that the combination still doesn't set in well. But I personally think Shivam Dubey would still get into the playing 11. Amazing spinner in Tewatia and Shreyas Gopal. Lots of talent. And of course, Maipal Lomror did get some amount of chances, but he has to prove his mettle. Uh, I feel for Yashasvi Jaiswal because he's an amazing talent, but still needs to bloom further. And uh, I don't know. On the face of it, it seems Rajasthan seem to be the weakest of 8 teams. Uh, uh, with no elite tensions. That's how what actually seems mainly because of the inexperienced captaincy, maybe over reliance on English players, and uh, you know uh, some amount of workload management also already put in minds of English players and whatnot. But would be a very interesting season for them, and let's see. I'm quite excited to see Rajasthan play more than any other team, mainly because of the highly volatile, I'll say, situation that they're probably in right now. So yes, I think that's pretty much it on Rajasthan. I think we'll come to Kings 11 Punjab. Of course, Punjab Kings now. Uh, uh, Again, one other team very similar to Delhi, which pretty much relies on its I'll say uh, Indian talent with KL Mayank at the helm. Point is, I think they've upped their foreign pool as well with the kind of form that Nicholas Puran is now in currently, and the amazing buy of David Malan. It's still a very huge surprise that world's best T20 international batsman just went for about a crore and a half or two, and was pretty much an easy buy. There was not much fuss there. It would be really interesting. But point is, he's a top order batsman. Punjab's top order is pretty much squeezed now. With also Gale, Mullen, Mayank there, KL there. So where would actually people be sneaking in is still a question that needs to be asked. Uh, I'm not sure of the Riley Meredith buy. I won't say it's a bad buy, uh, but 8 crores for him is something that I would still probably think about once again. Mainly because their bowling has not been disappointing last season. A decent Indian strength, good spinner in Ravi Bishnoi, amazing seamer in Mohammad Shami. But is Mohammad Shami fit or will he be fit enough? And there are countless questions on those lines. One by I'm particularly excited about is the Tamil Nadu lad Shah Rukh Khan. Uh, has been terrific for them in the Syed Mushtaq Ali tournament. Big, hefty guy who can send the ball into stands, and I think that's one player that I'm actually very much looking forward. Uh, you know, Moises Henrique's purchase, Richardson. It's still not those match winners. I'll personally say, but still gives that balance, and their core is definitely their Indian strength, and it's very, very, very important for KL Rahul for this time around to actually pace his innings a bit better, and with Puran, with a lot more balance in Malan, maybe at 1 or 2 down, if he's opening right, I think he'll go for all glory. But their foreign options of four will still be tricky. Uh, with Gale still doing what he can do the last time around. So, what do you think about Punjab Kings?
Yeah, Punjab Kings, as they are now re-christened themselves, I think they got a very balanced squad, and they should start as one of the favorites to make it to the playoffs in the upcoming season. And as you mentioned, they have their top order batting pretty much sorted out with the likes of KL Rahul and Mayank Agarwal, the two Karnataka guys, and then Chris Gale as well. And they will be hoping that David Milan, which was absolutely a steal at that price, to come to the fore and handle
Mm-hmm,
the middle order for them.
mm-hmm,
And they've got the likes of Deepak Huda, Sarfraz Khan, and Shah Rukh Khan, their new pick to come in and do the stuff in the middle and later middle order as well. And they can use somebody like a Nicholas Puran as a floater in the order because he can come and take the bowling apart pretty much at any stage of the game. And depending on the situation of the game, they can use them just like a KKR would want to use Andre Russell. And I think their bowling picks in the form of Jai Richardson was very good. Um, Riley Meredith, he's been having a stellar season with the Hobart Hurricanes, I believe, in the BPL. It was an exorbitant price, but it's just another case of a player having a good season or two and then being snapped up by a franchise. And they have their bowling also well rounded off. The spin attack led by Morgan Ashwin and Ravi Bishnoi, two wrist spinners in there, and of course their pace bowling led by Mohammad Shami. Um, it'll be interesting to see how I'll be wanting to see somebody like Ishan Poral get a game, get consistently games in this season. It was very very surprising that he did not get any games last season. He's one hell of a good young bowler, has done very well for Bengal in domestic cricket. So it was very surprising that he did not get some game time. I hope he gets some game time in there. But overall, if they keep their balance intact and have their big guns firing, I see them going a long way in the tournament.
indeed, that's pretty much it on Punjab Kings, I'd say. Of course, Ishan Porel is something that I mean, some player that I'm quite excited from years, especially after his, semi-final game against Pakistan. I think this was at in New Zealand, of course. You don't see those 6 foot plus players actually doing, getting into Indian squad, and that there's no fear factor yet. We've been very effective, and I thought Ishan definitely deserves a IPL cap at least, and lad hasn't played yet, and of course I'm very much looking forward to Ishan. Of course, can be of has amazing mentorship of Anil Kumble, and and also Mohammad Shami, who was a more or less a veteran bowler for us now. Uh, that's a word on Kings. I mean Punjab Kings. Last but not the least, our very own Sunrisers Hyderabad. So point is, all all the team, right from VVS and everyone were busy, hogging on mixture is the meme. What the meme world actually made multiple memes on. Uh, so Best Buy, worst buy, not very tough. I thought Best Buy was still Kedar, while people even kind of write him off. I still think he's a decent batsman to start with, but of course can't go the Chennai way. Uh, can't necessarily play those dot balls and go for glory towards the end because he's not just the same. Having said that, what's very important is he kind of has the skill. He can clear the boundaries and has played a lot of cricket in Bombay, and that's apparently one factor as well. Not to forget, right, in a situation there's no Johnny, or probably an half fit Saha. Kedar can don the gloves, and we need not necessarily pick Srivats Goswami only for the sake of it. So that's one additional facet of his, I'll say, skill, in addition to bowling those slinga off spins. So pretty much, I'm okay with the Kedar Jadhav bhai. Uh, what I was not necessarily happy with was Mujib, mainly because he's too good to be benched. Even same goes with Mohammad Nabi. He's too good to be benched. Sunrise Hyderabad pretty much has its core in its four foreigners it's going to select, and it's pretty much full. And with probably in Indian conditions, right? Johnny may play all the games. With Bhuvi back, Holder may actually sit back. So with Johnny, Kane Williamson, Warner, and Rashid, right? I don't see Nabi or even Mujib getting some amount of game time there. Uh, Even in a situation that there's no Rashid, I think the first option should definitely be Mohammad Nabi, and probably the third option would be to pick someone like a Mujib, and he's too good to be benched. I'm mentioning this again. I'll be very surprised if he gets more than 2 to 3 games to play this season, considering our core four best foreigners that we have. So yeah, what's your take on it? Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they had very little to do in this auction, and the only reason for that, was they have a very well settled side. They did not release many of their players prior to the auction. And people might be thinking they bought only three players, and that is because their core is pretty much stable, and they're very happy with the squad that they have in place. And having said that, I think they got in Kedar Yadav because our Achilles heel has been the Indian middle order batting for a long time now. That's one area that we have not been able to plug. Uh, we have invested in a couple of very good youngsters, Priyam Garg and Abhishek Sharma, who won you a match each last season, and that was more than enough from their point of view. So they will look for these players, to develop in the same vein. Um, they just wanted to provide more cover to the likes of Manish Pandey and Vijay Shankar in the middle order, and that's why they went for Kedar Yadav, I think. And the onus is now on him to repay the faith that they have showed in him and deliver the performances like we know Kedar can do. And on the top order, pretty much, David Warner is going to lead the way. And obviously, I think they might be in a situation there where they can only play either of Williamson or Bairstow. So depending upon who is in the best of forms, they might want to take that call. Otherwise, I see David Warner and Rashid Khan being the two overseas players that are pretty much going to play every match. Um, and one out of Williamson and Bairstow. And then when you see the all rounders, you saw Jason Holder providing the kind of balance that the side needed last season, and he provides plenty of options with both bat and ball. So he might be another option there as well. Um, and Mitchell Marsh is probably a backup to him, and it remains to be seen how fit he is because he's been a pretty unfit player in the last 3 or 4 years. And as you mentioned, even I was surprised why they went for Mujib, because they already have two Afghan spinners in there, uh, Rashid and Mohammad Nabi, who has hardly got any game time. Um, and it was also surprising to see them go for Sochit, who is a left-arm spinner. You already have the likes of Shahbaz Nadeem and Abhishek Sharma, who bowl left-arm spin. They might want it. They might have wanted to go for another spinning option, but that's the reason they might have gone for somebody like a Mujib. And then the Indian pace bowling stocks also are pretty much in good standing, with Bhuvi coming back from injury, Sandeep Sharma providing that kind of support that he already does. In the absence of Bhuvi, he was very, very good in the last season. Khalil Ahmed provides that variety left arm, and of course, we've got the find of the last season, Natarajan, for the franchise and for the country as well. Riddhiman Saha again will be a vital cog. I see him playing if they select only one out of Williamson or Bairstow, and what he can do with the bat at the top of the order was for everyone to see late last season.
Hmm.
So I think they pretty much got every base covered. Just have to get their selection right, and I think uh, they again should be one of the top contenders for the playoff spot. It's a team which does not get talked about a lot, and that always flies under the radar, but they don't complain. And from the time they won the championship in 2016, they have made a play. They have made it to the playoffs in every following season till 2020, and even in spite of that, they get talked very less, and not that, and they're not the glamorous franchise as many people would want to believe, but they get the job done on the field. So all in all, I expect them to be similarly worthy contenders of the playoffs. And that's the meaning of all the IPL teams put in a nutshell at the outset of the season to get to the playoffs. And again, from the playoff, it's anybody's game, I think. So all in all, I think it's been a pretty helpful review post the mini auction of all the 8 IPL franchises, and it promises to be another cracking season. And as you mentioned, we will obviously have to wait some more time to um, hear clearly about the venues. And another food for thought for the board was they were wanting to do it in multiple venues just to show the ICC and the other people that they are in readiness for the World T20 as well, instead of holding it in just a couple of cities. So it remains to be seen which way they would go with that. Obviously, taking the government and the other agencies also into confidence will be a prime requirement. Uh, we'll, of course, be doing more detailed analysis and discussions leading into that IPL season. But for now, I think we can call it a day as far as the IPL mini auction is concerned. Do you have anything else to add, Ravi?
Well, nothing more. I think we pretty much covered whatever has happened the other day. Having said that, yes, we're going to do of course, a detailed analysis of what can we expect, along with some amount of, I'll say, a prediction. Would be interesting. Just can't wait for IPL. Just can't wait to see MS Dhoni once again.
Yeah, absolutely. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's a wrap up on this episode of the Third Man Cricket Podcast. And tomorrow we'll be again joining you guys with a couple of episodes, a preview to the all important pink ball test match to be held between India and England at Motera, and also giving you a quick review of the recently concluded Pakistan South Africa T20 series and the impressive test series win of the Windies over Bangladesh, and also a bit of a sneak peek into the Pakistan Super League, which has just about started a couple of days ago. Uh, that we would like to take your permission to wrap up this show, and we shall see you soon um, tomorrow. Thank you all very much.
Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.